to finish in 2 hours time or less. So have a nice meeting, everybody. Before starting right now, I will hand over to the president who will say a few words. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you, SG. Just would like to welcome everybody to this meeting. There is no time for more speech, so I welcome you to this meeting and wish you a very good meeting. As you know, we are going to discuss on a very important matter, which is amendment to the Constitution. So I hope that everybody will participate fully so that we may come out with a very good result after this meeting. So wish everybody a good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. So this meeting, like you said, is about the amendments to the Constitution, the proposed amendments that Council is bringing to the AGM this year. And these amendments are about our own Constitution, but also the BWF Constitution and all the other CC's Constitution. So this whole project of harmonizing the BWF Constitution to that of all the 5 CCs was actually started 2 years ago, and it's a BWF-led initiative. The objective, of course, was to make sure that the 5 CCs Constitution are aligned to that of the BWF. And also, if you would remember back in July, the BWF already made some changes. Initially, all the changes were supposed to be done in May for the CCs, but also for the BWF. And then all of this would have resulted in the signing of an MOU with the BWF and the different CCs. Well, unfortunately, we had to postpone the AGM. The BWF did theirs in July, and now we are doing ours in December. And this is why it's very important for us to go through this amendment and change our constitution so that it's in line with that of the BWF. Another main reason why we need to look at these amendments very carefully and approve it is because next year is a very important year. The council term is ending, and there will be election for council members, including the president, deputy president, and treasurer's roles. So this is why it's also very important for us to look at these amendments so that we don't lose another 4 years term before making sure that our constitution is in line with that of the BWF. So like I said, the process started in 2018, and there were several meetings, online Skype meetings, of course, email conversations, and we also had a workshop with the BWF, and this is where council and a representative of the BWF were together, and it was back in 2019, in November 2019, where Mr. Stewart Burry, the Chief Operating Officer of the BWF, traveled to Africa and met the BCA Council in Cameroon. There was a 2-day workshop, and all the different, each clause of the Constitution was discussed and reviewed in that workshop. So following that workshop, a proposed amendment was drafted, and then in late December 2019, it was sent to you, the membership, by email for your input. We received a few input, and then back in February 2020, we shared again the latest version. Unfortunately, like I said, we had to postpone our AGM, so we couldn't approve these amendments back then. And when we agreed to have the AGM virtually, we sent out the order paper together with the proposed amendment in November again. So this presentation today is about these amendments. We're going to go through the different proposed changes that Council would like to bring. And it's your opportunity as members to, first of all, understand what we are trying to change, and also opportunity for you to share your views and also ask question, clarification, and so on. So moving forward, our constitution. Well, I'm sure you all know, you have all read our constitution. This is how it looks. If you just check your screen. The constitution, of course, we do have a lot of strong constitution or working on the proposed amendment, we found out that some of the clauses are not clear. They are ambiguous. That is, they don't really have an obvious meaning. You have to read them one time, two times, three times to understand. And also it can be subject to interpretation. Secondly, all good constitution have to be clear and quite simple to understand. For us, some of the clauses are disorganized. So for instance, if you want to have a look at the procedures of a general meeting, normally you have to go and look at the start of the constitution, then you go in the middle of the constitution, and at the end of the constitution. So all these clauses were dispersed. So it was difficult for you really to properly find the particular rules based on what you were looking for. Also, many of the definitions, wordings, were not consistent with that of the BWF constitution. And we found out that, of course, it's a problem, but also some other CCs had the same problem. So it was an opportunity to review that as well, so that our constitution, again, is harmonized and in line with that of the BWF. I have a hand raised. Mr. Hamilton, do you have a question? No, I think, okay. So I can see your message on the chat. Okay, good afternoon to you as well. Welcome to the meeting. Okay, so moving on, do you have any questions so far? Okay, no question. Our constitution structure. So right now, our constitution is divided into 19 different segments or heading or section, whatever you would like to call them. And these sections are listed there on your screen. However, what we have tried to do to put things in order and make sure the constitution is clear, simple, and easy to go through, we have proposed to have the constitution in 9 defined sections. We're not going to change anything to the content, but just to put it in order. Of course, with some amendments. Now, if you look at the structure itself, please have a look on the screen. You will see in red the current structure, and in blue, the proposed structure. So for the proposed structure, the section 1, which we are proposing to be called the general provision, is going to englobe and include different other sections of the constitution that we have currently. For example, the name, the legal status, the languages, purposes, definitions, and so on will all fall under general provisions. And we have done this for all the different sections. And we will go through each of these sections now. Okay, so I will start with section 1. Questions so far? Okay, so the section 1, the proposed section 1, which we would like it to be called the general provisions, it's going to include the name of the BCA like it is now. There are really no major changes in this section. We have rephrased some of the clauses, but the meaning stays the same. The only addition is the subsection on the principles, which is basically constant wording that the BWF have used for their constitution, and all the other CCS have used the same wordings. So it's basically about the principles of good governance, and in line with the Olympic Charter and what also other IF and major sports organizations are doing. So it includes, of course, transparency, accountability, really all the different factors of good governance. So these are not major changes or addition. It's just constant to what the BWF have done. The same thing for the definition. We have make it constant with definitions that the BWF have used. There are a few additions like the CAS, the definition for the CAS, which is the Court of Arbitration for Sport. It was not present before, and also other definitions like a player, a stakeholder, and so on. So really no major changes for this one. Question here before we move to section 2? Okay, moving forward. Membership. So again, this one also straightforward. So the section about membership, no major changes. It just includes all the rules on membership, who can become a member, how to become a member. And right now we are just following what's in the BWF constitution, that is any country who is a member, who becomes a member of the BWF automatically becomes a member of the respective continental confederation. So for example, this year, we had 2 new members. So Senegal became a member of the BWF first. For their case, they became an associate member of the BWF, and then automatically they became an associate member of the BCA. Same for Gambia. They applied to be a member of the BWF, and as soon as this was approved by the BWF Council, they automatically became a member of the BCA. So that's it for membership. Really nothing, no major changes here. Any question on this one? Okay, I'm moving forward. Section 3. So section 3 is about governance. and which we have called government, and it includes the structure, that is the general meetings, council, executive board, also all the procedures of a general meeting, including the notice, the business of the meeting, how to make a proposal, the voting strength, and also the AGM, which is the extraordinary general meeting. So the additions here, really, the first one, we have included a deadline to have the annual general meeting. In our constitution right now, there are no term, there are no clause specifying up to when we can do an AGM. So for instance, we can do an AGM in December for the previous year, but it was something that was discussed, and then we decided to include a deadline for council to call for an AGM, which was 6 months after the end of the year, which is 30th of June 30th of June every year. Secondly, the notice of the AGM stayed the same, so which is 3 months before. What we have changed is sometimes in our constitution, we can see that we refer to weeks, and sometimes we say months. So we have just make it constant and use weeks everywhere. So the notice is 3 months, no changes there. Another changes that the council is bringing is on the business of the AGM itself, where we have included the appointment of the auditor. Right now, the auditor is appointed by council, but we are now proposing that the auditor is approved by the general meeting, of course, on council's recommendation. So this is one more addition. Moving on the quorum of the meeting. So the quorum right now is 15 members, and this has not changed for several years. And instead of putting a number, we have included a percentage. So the quorum, the proposed percentage to have a quorum is 40%. The voting strength. Okay, so before going on the voting strength, just let me know if you have any question on the previous slide. That is on the deadline to host the AGM, the notice, the auditor, or any other question. Okay, so I'm going to continue the voting strength. So right now, and this has been the case for several years, our MAs have different votes, and this depends on several criteria. We have a maximum of 10 votes, and of course a minimum of 1 vote. This was discussed several times at general meetings, but also at council level. And a lot of MAs were always complaining about the difference in the number of votes, meaning that a particular MA could have 10 votes, and which is actually equivalent to 10 MAs vote. So if you have 1 vote, you need to have 10 countries like yourself to be able to be equivalent to a country with 10 votes, meaning that 5-6 countries with 10 votes, they could have more votes than all the rest of the MAs. So this was discussed. And of course, the other side of this is we want MAs to be motivated to participate in our event. And each time you do that, you you do get an additional vote. So we council had to find a right balance, and this is why now the proposal is to reduce the maximum number of votes to 8 instead of 10. But also to be more flexible in terms of allocating these votes. So let me explain myself. For the 8 votes, they are going to be as follows. The first criteria is based on the BWF subscription. Some countries pay a BWF subscription of $200, other pay $400, other pay $800, and this depends on criteria set out by the BWF. So for our criteria here, a country can have up to 3 votes depending on the unit of subscription they pay to the BWF. Most of the country in Africa, they only pay $200 and they only have 1 vote. So this is criteria number 1. Criteria number 2 is the participation in our All Africa Senior Championship. Right now it's 2 votes. So if you participate in the All Africa Senior Championship, in the team event, you get 2 votes. So what council is proposing, instead of getting 2 votes, you get 1 vote. And also to make it more flexible, you can either participate in the team event or the individual event. You will get 1 vote. The same thing for the All Africa Under 19 and the All Africa Under 15. That is 1 vote if you participate in the championship team or individual vote. Same thing for the school championship. Now, if you're organizing an international series tournament, so our BCA circuit, if you're organizing an international tournament, at least an international series, you will get 1 vote. It was initially 2 votes as well. And lastly, if you participate in the Africa Para Badminton Championship, you get 1 vote. This is an addition to the criteria. Of course, the objective is to encourage our members to participate in this championship as well. So these are the defined criteria to get these 8 votes. And like I said, right now it's 10, but the changes is to bring it to 8 with some flexibility on the criteria as well. So I'm waiting for your question now. I hope it's clear what I have explained. If you need any clarification or if you have any question, please let me know. Can see none. Can also be your view about it or any suggestion, anything that we can note down for later. Any question, please. Okay, I can see President Francis. Yes, you can go on.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I think I mean, you've broken it down and you've explained it. Maybe because I was part of the council that deliberated, so it's easier for one to understand it.
President, sorry to interrupt. There's a background noise. It's difficult for us to hear you.
Okay, I'll have to move. Just a minute.
Okay.
Hello, SG. Is it better? Hello?
Yes, much better, President. You
Okay,
can go.
sorry. Yes, there was a bit, I didn't know the noise was going to be that interruptive. So I was saying that I think you've explained it and it's quite clear. I said maybe it's easier for me to understand because I was also at the council meeting where this was deliberated upon extensively. I just want to also lend my voice again that it's a good decision. Before now it was 10, and with this new criteria defined, it has reduced it to 8. And it still gives room, like you rightly said, when you were even explaining the new additional one, to encourage more countries to participate. In the last voting cycle, Nigeria had 10 votes. In this voting cycle, we have 6. And I'm like, oh, what happened? I just realized that we didn't play the school champion, we didn't attend the school championship, and we did attend the, I think under 18 or so, one of the age grades. So for me, I've looked at it and I'm like, oh, I want to come back to a higher voting strength. So I'm going to make effort for Nigeria to attend as many as possible. And if we have more countries striving to achieve that, then it's better for the game. So that we don't all relax and just, do the minimum. So if we know that when we do more, it gives us more say in the affairs and the decision making of the confederation, then it will encourage us to do that. So I just wanted to say that I think it's still a good decision. That gap between the least and the maximum has been reduced, and it still gives room also to encourage countries to participate. Thank you.
Thank you, President, for your contribution. We have a question on the chat from President Hamilton from Botswana. And he's asking about whether they will pay a BCA subscription in 2021. A very good question, President. So I will cover the subscription part later on in the presentation. So you will get your answer later on in the presentation. Thank you, President. So any other comment or question on this one before we move forward? Yes, President Michael from Sierra Leone, please.
Yes, SG. Just a quick observation in regards to the first BWS subscription votes. Why do we need to allocate votes based on subscription? Don't you think that's the bully? Because some countries pay 200, 400, 800, and some countries will use this opportunity to buy votes. You don't think this would be a bit not fair to MAs that pay 200 or 400? Can you please clarify that aspect, please?
Yes, thank you, President. I heard your question. So, well, the BDF subscription unit is not based only on the amount they pay, but it's based on BDF criteria. So, for instance, if you play World Championship, if you play the Sudirman Cup, if you play 5, I think, of the 8 tournaments, you get 1 additional vote. If you have more than, let's say, 10,000 registered players, something like that, you get a second additional vote. And for the BWF level, it's up to 5 votes, but it's based on their criteria. And right now in Africa, it's only 1 or 2 countries that pay more than the $200. So it's not like if I have more money, I pay more subscription, then I get more vote. No, it's not like that. So it's based on participation to BWF events, World Championship, and so on, and some other criteria. So I hope you understood. It's not like if I have more money, when I get more votes. No, but it's based on different criteria as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, President. I can see no other comment or questions, so I'm going to move on. Section 4, Council. So this section includes the council structure, elections of council members, their role and responsibilities, the meeting procedures, and the different committees. One of the main additions in this section is to include the BCA Athletes Chair Commission as a full council member with voting rights. So you would remember that last year we introduced an elected BCA Athletes Commission, and the chair of the Athletes Commission was co-opted on the BCA Council. So now, based on recommendation from the BWF and also from the IOC Charter, we want to include the chair of the Athletes Commission as a full council member. And this is in line with all the aspects of good governance, and especially to show everybody that we are giving our athlete a voice and a vote on council among the deciders of the Confederation. So this is one of the main addition. Second, and this one is quite important, so I would request your full attention here. When going through our constitution with the BWF, we realize that our constitution, based on the position of the BWF VP for Africa, is not in line with the constitution of the BWF. Meaning, right now, as you all know, our president is automatically the BWF vice president for Africa. In the BWF constitution, the vice president have to be elected a year after the Olympic Games, meaning if you look at the screen, from 2020, sorry, my mistake. So the BWF VP, they have to be elected a year before the Olympic Games. So meaning last year in 2019, all the BWF VPs were elected. But if you would remember, our president, whose term is finishing in 2021, was not elected in 2019. So this is a major difference with the BWF constitution. For instance, next year we are having our election for council, and if we have a new president, then that person will not be able to sit on the BWF council as the vice president for Africa. It will be not in line with what the BWF constitution says. So it's a problem which has to be resolved. And the solution for that is to amend the term, our current term for election of council members. So in 2017, there was an election for council, and the term has to end in May 2021. So in 2017, we elected 15 people who are now on council. And in May 2021, we'll have to elect another 15 people, all the same, whoever will be elected in those positions. Now, to align our constitution with that of the BWF, we are proposing to amend this 4-year term. That is, in 2021, instead of having a 4-year term, to have a transition term of 2 years, that is 2021 to 2023, and then from 2023 to continue with the new term of 4 years, so 2023 to 2027. By doing this, our constitution will be in line with that of the BWF, and the BCA president will be able to represent Africa on the BWF Council as the vice president for Africa, thus being in line with the BWF constitution. So elections are going to be held as normal in 2021, May 2021, but instead of a 4-year term, it will be a transition term of 2 years only. And in 2023, we'll resume the 4-year term normally. So this is the proposal to align both of the constitution. In any way, we cannot leave it like it is now, because it is in direct, it is not in line, I mean, with the BWF constitution. So I would open now for questions before going forward. I'm sure you will have a few questions here. First of all, I hope you understood the proposal. If yes, please, I wait for your question. If no, please let me know. I will explain again. Mr. Kinsley, are you?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. The point that I wanted to be clarified is bullet 1, 2, 3, 4 about the president and the deputy and the treasurer. My interpretation is that the deputy president after 2 terms cannot stand for that position, but can stand for another position. I don't know if that's the way it is stated also in your understanding there, Mr. Secretary. But the deputy president can aspire for presidents. The treasurer can aspire for another position apart from the president. I guess we are right. We are together.
Correct, Mr. Kinsley. Yes. So the maximum term is, for example, if the president has done 2 years, then he will not be able to stand as president again. But if he wishes, he can stand as deputy president or treasurer. So no question or clarification on this matter? I can see none, so I will move forward. For elections, the list of candidates is going to be published 6 weeks before the election instead of 3 weeks as it is now. Of course, the deadline to nominate and second candidates will remain as 8 weeks. So after the 8 weeks, the list of candidates will be published 6 weeks prior to the election. So giving more time for the candidates and also for MAs to know about these candidates. So 6 weeks before the AGM. And then we mentioned about the term, the 2-year term, sorry, the president, the deputy president, and the treasurer can only have a maximum of 2 terms. This was actually added to our constitution 2 years ago. And the transition term in 2021 to 2023 will not count in these 2 terms. Apart from that, regarding the council procedures, committees, and so on, there are no major changes. Questions? Thank you. I will move forward. Sections 5, 6, and 7, which is about the executive board, the administrative provisions, and finance provisions. So section 5 on the EB describes all the duties of the executive board, the president, and the treasurer. One of the major changes here is the composition of the EB itself. Right now, it's the president, the deputy president, the treasurer, and 4 other members of the council. But this has been defined, and the chairs of different committees have been added. So the new composition of EB is proposed to be the president, the deputy president, the treasurer, the chair of the admin and remuneration committee, the chair of the finance committee, the chair of events committee, and the chair of the development committee. And also coming back to President Hamilton's question on finance, one of the proposal again is to annul and remove the BCA subscription. So let me just explain this a little bit. A few years ago, so it was probably 4 years ago, the BCA subscription was added to our constitution, and a few countries only, approximately 12 to 15 countries, were paying the BCA subscription. Different amounts, 200, 400, and 600. So right now, after our consultation with the BWF, and since, like I said earlier, you become a member as soon as you're a member of the BWF, so members are already paying a subscription fee to the BWF, and then you become a member in good standing as per the BWF rules and regulation. So there won't be any need to pay another subscription now to the BCA. Because in theory, in practice, actually, it would be very difficult to manage that. For instance, if you pay the BCA subscription and then you don't pay the BWF subscription, it's going to be a problem in terms of your status, either good standing or not, or vice versa. If you pay the BWF subscription and then you don't pay the BCA subscription, does it mean that you can participate in the BWF general meeting, but you can't in the BCA general meeting? Or does it mean that you can participate in a BWF tournament, but you cannot participate in a BCA tournament? So it was quite ambiguous, and that's why after consultation with the BWF, we decided to remove the BCA subscription. So President Hamilton, if the amendments are approved on 19th of December, then for 2021, you will not have to pay the BCA subscription. A last point on these sections is the administrative provision, which is about the staff, the Secretary General, and all the other admin matters. Any questions, please? Okay, none. I will move forward. Not many slides remaining. Section 8, the judicial provisions. Well, this part is actually an addition to our constitution. We do have currently some provisions, but it's not much, and it's also actually not in line with what the BWF have currently. So these additions, if you would remember, were added to the BWF constitution as well in July 2020, and all members approved that back in July for the BWF AGM. So all of these different clauses, so 21, jurisdiction, application of BWF statutes, judicial authority, judicial procedures, judicial panel, and sanction, these wordings are the same for all the 5 CCs. So it's the same wording as is the same system, which I will explain in the next slide. But where do they apply? Of course, with regards to disciplinary matters and where there are breaches or a breach of the BCA constitution. So just in practice, what will be the judicial provisions? So there are 3 types of cases. There are governance cases, sports-related cases, and ethics-related cases. What is a governance case? For example, if somebody or an organization breaches the BCA constitution, it can be an individual, it can be a member association. One of the examples could be for the election. There are any contestation of the elections and so on, then these are governance cases. For these cases, they are going to go to a judicial panel, which we are going to call the BCA judicial panel. It will be composed of 5 members. 2 of these members would be council members and 3 independent members, which are not related to the BCA. So these are governance cases, and in case there are any appeals, these will go to the BWF independent hearing panel. The second type of cases, sports-related cases. This means on the court itself, if there are any breaches of the competition regulation, then these cases will go to the BWF sports disciplinary panel. And the BWF disciplinary panel includes 5 council members and 1 representative from each continental confederation. And again, if there are any appeals to the decision of the SDP, the sports disciplinary panel, it will go to the BWF independent hearing panel. And lastly, for ethics cases, and here examples, anti-doping or breaches of the code of conduct, code of ethics, and so on. These cases will go directly to the BWF independent hearing panel. So this is in practice how it's going to look. And what will mostly concern us are the governance cases where the BCA will have to appoint a BCA judicial panel, again composed of 2 council members and 3 independent members. This will be the responsibility of council to appoint these people. So that's in practice. And of course, like I said earlier, all these are the same for all the 5 CCs, same procedures, same structure, and this has been approved by the BWF AGM already in May, and now it's us. We have to adopt these. some other CCs have already done so. And now it's up to us. Any question on this? Any clarification? Okay, thank you. I can see no comments or messages. Okay, moving on. Section 9, the final provision, which is going to include the rules on how to alter the constitution, and it's going to remain to 2/3 majority, and then of course dissolution. So really no major changes here as well. So that's all for the proposed amendments. I don't know if you have any question on the previous slides before I move on, or any other comments. Okay, I can see that you have no questions. So now this proposal will have to be voted on by you, the members. So during the general meeting, it will be item number 5 on the agenda, and you will be requested to vote either for or against amending the BCA constitution. Like I just mentioned, for the motion to be approved, it will have to receive a majority of 2/3, meaning 67% of the total vote cast. Okay, so in the next steps, so we have completed the 2 preparatory meetings on Monday and today on Wednesday. That is going through the agenda itself and also on these amendments today. Now, we will request you again to send in your nomination form. Up to now, we have received the form from 25 countries. So we are expecting another 15 to send us their form. So please do this as soon as possible. And as soon as we will receive all the forms, we will send you an invitation to attend a test voting, which will be on Friday, the 18th of December. The time is yet to be confirmed. And then on the 19th, we will have the AGM, and you will receive the invitation from Lumi Global. So it's not us that will send you the invitation, but you will receive it directly from them, and you will just have to click on the link where you will attend the meeting. So that's almost it for me. Just to let you know and remind you that this presentation will be available on our website and also on YouTube on our channel. We will also share the notes, questions, discussions in French and in English on our website as well in a few days' time, hopefully by the end of the week. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention. Before I move on and give the floor to the president, is there any question or any comment, anything you want to add before I hand over to the president?
Good afternoon, everybody. Hi, Sair.
Yes, President
Hisham.
Hisham.
Sure. Yes. Good afternoon for everybody and for the president. Thank you for this meeting. I just return back to the subscription for the BWF that you said that you will discuss later. So I received the amount of 1,800 for the subscription for BWF. I don't know why. So if you know any idea about this amount, you can clarify for me.
Yes, thank you, President, for the question. We actually gave some explanation earlier on, but I will just provide to you this information. So actually, the amount of subscription that you pay to the BWF is based on different criteria. And why you're paying more this year is because your teams have participated in many international tournaments, World Championship, in the World Events, World Junior, and so on. And this is why now, instead of having one vote in the BWF AGM, you're having 3. Actually, I think the first African country to have 3 votes. This means that you were very active during the past 4 years. And one of the criteria also is to have a player or a pair in the top 40 worldwide. So your women's double is in the top 40. And congratulations to you, by the way. And this means that during the BWF AGM, now you have more votes. So this is why the subscription as well is more. And this will be the case for the next 4 years, because every 4 years the BWF review these votings. So this is why the voting for you is more.
For the BWF is more, and for BCA, for the BWF increasing, but for the BCA will be lower.
Well, yes, for
How
the
come?
BCA.
How come this duplicate?
Well, no. I mean, I don't know if you heard what I said earlier, but for the BCA, we are going to annul. So there won't be any BCA subscription. And these are based on the 2 different rules. There are the BWF rules and the BCA rule. For our rule, our constitution, we are removing the subscription, not only for you, but for all the members. Now the BWF have their rule, and they say that depending on several criteria, you have 1 vote, 2 votes, 3 votes, 4 votes, or 5 votes in their AGM. And these
okay, can you send me the criteria of the subscription of BWF?
Well, this is available on the BWF website, and I'm sure they have sent it to you. If I remember correctly, just 10 days ago, the BWF sent out the voting list or the voting numbers for each country on email. It was sent by Stewart Burry just 10 days ago. But of course, I can just send you the link so that you can refer to the BWF.
Okay, thank you.
But I think it's a great achievement for Africa, because from what I know, it's the first time that an African country is getting 3 votes in the BWF AGM. I knew in the past Nigeria and South Africa had 2 votes, but now it's the first time that we're getting 3 votes. Also an achievement for Egypt to have a pair in the top 40 worldwide. So, I mean, from my experience, I don't know when before we had a pair or a player in the top 40. So it's the first time really. So it's a great achievement. And I think that you, Egypt Federation, is doing very well. So congratulations to you. And
thank you.
Sure that many other countries will follow your step. And this is what the BWF also wants. And that's why if you get more votes now, the unit of subscription also increase. But anyway, President, thank you for the comment. If you need any other information, I will send it to you after the meeting. I will refer you to the BWF links and so on. And again, thank you very much.
I have a suggestion also in the page for the, sorry to come late, but
Sure.
maybe,
No
sorry about that.
No problem.
In the period of the president and deputy president, or can you return back to this page?
This one?
Yes. This you said here, or the constitution says that period will be 2 terms, excluded the transition term. I think we have to make it more clear for the maybe next years, because transition term, maybe it's not happening again, or it can happen again. So maybe you can limit the transition term or by years. If the term will be more than 2 years, it will count as a period. That's what I mean, to make it more clear for the next years, because this year maybe only 2 years a term, but maybe who knows, after that we have some problems again or any change. Maybe we clarified this with 2 years maximum to be transition term. If it be 3 years, I think it will be a period. So maybe you can add some sentences or words, qualify, to make it clear that not only transition, any transition term for the future. You understand?
Yes, President, of course, of course. Yes, I mean, in general, transition terms, they do not count as a term for all the other main sporting organization. But in the proposal itself, the one that we have sent out, you will see that we are referring to the transition term of 2021 to 2023. But I'm taking
only this period.
I'm taking on your suggestion, but in the future we can put something in there in the constitution. We can put a clause that transition term in general won't count for. But this is something that council will have to look at, and then of course, if there are any amendments to be brought to the general meeting in next year or in the next few years, we are going to take that into consideration. So thank you. I got the point. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have any other comment or question, I will now hand over to the President. So thank you very much for your attention, Mr. President, please.
Thank you very much, SG. Before I conclude, I would like to mention something that will encourage people to look forward for them to have more votes at the BWF. Because as you know, this year we amended the constitution whereby what now at BWF level, on the council, there is a sort of allocation of position for each continent. These allocations are based on the total number of votes that each continental federation has. So now that we Africa will start having more votes at BWF, that means one day by calculating the total number of votes in Africa, that will enable us to have more members at the council, at the BWF council. So far, we have 3 positions for Africa, and so on and moving forward. The total number we are having right now is based on 100%. That means if the total number of votes in Africa is increasing, so some members of other continents will have less members in the council, and Africa will have more because based on the total number of votes that Africa has. So this is a positive point for us. If we should work together to ensure that we Africa also, we are having more vote, more say at the BWF AGMs. And that will allow also to have more post position allocated to us when it comes to the BWF council members. So Dr. Isham, don't worry, we've done a very good job. So keep it up. And I know there are more coming. I can see Nigeria is next to you, is looking, and I know next time Nigeria will move forward because Nigeria is a big country in badminton. So I'm looking forward to see more countries aiming to have more votes at BWF, and that will be for the good image of Africa. So lastly, I want to say thank you very much. I want to congratulate the SG and his team for the very comprehensive presentation, because as we know, once we're talking about topic related to the Constitution, it's not that easy to put it the way where people will understand exactly what you want to do. And for that, I want to salute SG and the team for the preparation, because it's very clear, and everybody has been able to go to it and understand exactly what we are trying to do. So thank you for the Secretary, the EDU. And also, we cannot only thank the SG and the team if we didn't have participation of MNAs. So I would also like to congratulate the participation of MNAs for your clarification, make sure that we understand exactly what we're trying to do. So thank you very much, all MNAs, for your participation. And we have come to the end. I look forward to see you again, maybe in the test event, and finally in the AGM that will be held on the 19th
President,
of December.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry, before you close the meeting, we have 2 messages on the chat.
Okay.
So President Hamilton, so I'm just going to read the message. Afternoon, President. Also advocate for more points for our future series and international tournaments in Africa. End of quote. And we have a second message from President Michael. Any provision for those who missed the first meeting to comment on budget, etc. So, President, may I just say a few words?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead, SG. Yeah.
Thank you. So, President Michael, on your question, we are going to upload the presentation of the meeting itself on our website, and we will also send you the notes of this meeting. It will be a blend notes of the French and English discussion that we had. And of course, if you have any question, you can send us by email. We are going to publish this question on our website as well with the answers. So I hope this is fine for you. And I think, President, the first question is for you. It's on getting more points for our international tournaments in Africa. President?
Yes, G, I forgot where I was because I was being interrupted during the
Oh,
so
no
anyway,
problem.
so I would like to say thank you, everybody, and looking to see you in the test.
No, President, sorry to interrupt again. I don't know if you heard earlier on, but there was just a comment from President Hamilton on the chat, and he mentioned about the points for international tournaments in Africa. So he said, so I'm just going to quote the message. Afternoon, President, also advocate for more points for our future series and international tournaments in Africa. End of quote. Yes, I mean, if you want, I can give some information on this. Okay, so I mean, the question is about getting points for players when participating in tournaments in Africa, and I'm sure here President Hamilton is referring to the African Championship as well, where African players get points for the world ranking after participating in these events. So just throughout the different years, there are a difference in the point received when you participate in the African Championship or in the Oceania Championship or in the Asian Championship and so on. So for these, some of these other continents, especially Asia and Europe, the points they receive when their players play in their championship is much higher than that of Africans. So throughout many years, there has been some appeals from the African BWF Council members, but also, I mean, from us African stakeholders in general. But right now, it's still the same. And the reason given by the BWF, there are many. First of all, it depends on the level of our players. I mean, our players right now, on average, our best player are 70 in the world, 50 in the world, and compared to the Asian Europeans, of course, they are the best in the world. Secondly, it's the level and presentation of the tournaments itself, which we have been working on for a few years now. And also there are other criteria. But I'm sure that the president and Madame Chipo as well, who sits on the BWF Council members, I'm sure that they will always advocate for this. And together with the progress we are making with the presentation of our tournaments and also the performance of our players, like we just mentioned about the Egyptian players. So I'm sure we are going to have more points in the coming years. So it's not only the political side, but it's also on the sporting side and what we are doing with regards to the organization. And all of this together, I'm sure we will progress in the coming years. So, President, I leave it over to you now.
Okay, thank you, SG. Regarding the, just add something regarding the question asked by Hamilton. Yes, we are fighting on this point regarding the points allocated to competition held in Africa. And when I said that the main criteria is that they still believe that the level organization of the competition in Africa is still low. is the reason why, as we mentioned it in some of our presentation regarding the marketing, so we should continue to work together so that we improve the level of our organization of international competition in Africa. We already started by adding something when it comes to the organization of a championship. Our championship, for example, in Egypt, we have a very wonderful one. It's a good move, so we should work together so that we can improve the level of the competition in Africa, so that we can gain equal points whenever everybody is competing in Africa. Whenever we are going to another country, so to be the same point. So it's just a matter of the level of the competition. We have to work on it so that we can improve. And I have no doubt that one day we'll be there very soon. As you can see with the number of points that we are adding, we are gaining for some of African countries at the level. That means we can do that thing also in that manner. So let's work together, and one day we'll be there. My vision is that I remember in the past, Africa has to be seen as a less developed country, even when it comes to badminton. In every area, in your in everything coming from Africa, so there was that impression that Africa should be keeping behind. But what I'm sure right now, Africa has been seen as a potential continent when it's coming to BWF for the few things we are working on. And they know that we will need time for us to get to the point whereby we'll like to be. So we are working on that. We are building confidence. This can be seen with regard to the assistance that BWF is giving to Africa. In the past, they should not do so because there was a lot of sort of reticence for them to give such a support to Africa. Now, BWF have seen that we have a very good team, that we are working closely with BWF, and they are trying to help us. So we continue to work in that line so that we will meet that point that we are looking for. Africa is a strong continent. We have the resource for us to be at the top. But that will be happen if we are having that understanding, communicate everything, and keep that stability, agree to disagree, and then use efficiently the resources that will be given to us by BWF, the way we use our grant and so on. So far, BWF is very satisfied the way we are using the money that is given to us. And then this is given hope that in the future, as long as the BWF, the total BWF budget is increasing, of course, Africa will have a share. So thank you very much, and looking forward to see you again in the last session, which will be the day of the General Assembly. And my plea is, I'm looking forward to your support to the amendment that has been proposed for our Constitution. This is a milestone because, as you can see, our past Constitution was not complete, was a part of the Constitution. But now we can say that we have a Constitution. And this has been possible with the support of the BWF in order to harmonize the 5cc Constitution. So as the SG mentioned, so this exercise has been done by the 5cc. We already have some of them already done so, for example, for Oceania, because they have the AGM early this year. It was in February. At that time, COVID was not like it is right now. So they have the chance to have the AGM. So they have approved their composition. And for the other continent, all will be in December. So we are having other continent, Asia, Europe. So we are together in that exercise to harmonize our constitution with the BWF1. So thank you very much for your support. And I have no doubt that on that day, everybody will support this effort, because this will be a milestone for BCA and we'll try to gain confidence for the better of our sport. Thank you very much. And until next time, so be safe, stay strong, stay safe, stay healthy. Until next time. Thank you.